8-year-old Mia clutched her small backpack tightly, her fingers trembling as she pushed open the creaky back door of the foster home. The night air was cool and heavy, but it didn't slow her down. She tiptoed across the porch and into the shadows, heart thudding so loud she was sure someone would hear it. She had run away before, small escapes, always brief, but this time felt different. This time, she wasn't coming back. Inside the backpack were just a few things: a water bottle, a granola bar, an old blanket, and a folded photo of her parents. It was creased and faded from how often she'd held it, her fingers always tracing their smiling faces. She missed them so deeply it ached. No one in her foster home ever asked about them. Not really. And no one seemed to notice how often she stared out the window at night, eyes searching for something that never came. Mia didn't know exactly where she was going, only that she had to get there. Her feet carried her down quiet sidewalks and past dimly lit houses until she reached the old dirt path that led toward the edge of town. Her heart began to slow as she recognized a familiar turn near the woods, and then she saw it: the town's dog shelter. It was the only place that had ever felt like home since her parents died. She had spent hours there months ago, volunteering to help feed and brush the animals. Some dogs barked constantly. Others, like the big German shepherd in the last kennel, just stared at her with silent understanding. She hadn't been back since being moved into foster care, but tonight, this place, this quiet shelter, was the only safe place her heart could remember. Mia slips through the loose fence panel behind the shelter, the same one she had discovered months ago while playing with a rescued beagle. Her fingers are scraped and her clothes catch on a wire, but she squeezes through, heart pounding. Once inside the yard, she keeps low, darting from shadow to shadow until she reaches the rear entrance. She remembers the door never fully latched unless someone locked it, and tonight, like a miracle, it creaks open with a gentle push. The smell hits her immediately, a blend of straw, dog food, old metal, and damp fur. It's not pleasant, not really, but it's familiar. To Mia, it smells like comfort, like memories of quiet moments sitting beside caged dogs who had no one else. Just like her. She pads softly across the concrete floor and slips into the storage room. The lights are off, but faint moonlight filters into the high windows. She finds an old wool blanket draped over a bin and curls into a corner behind a stack of dog food bags. The room is chilly, but she tucks her legs close and pulls the blanket tight around her. For the first time all day, she breathes out fully. She feels hidden. All around her, the quiet shelter hums with life. Whimpers and soft growls echo from the kennels in the main hallway. She can hear paws shifting on straw, snouts pressing against the cage bars, tails thudding once or twice before settling. But one sound stands out, deeper, heavier. A low, restless growl that never turns aggressive, just alert. She knows that voice. It belongs to Titan. The massive German shepherd had always frightened other volunteers. He was silent, watchful, and unapproachable. But to Mia, he had never felt scary, just sad. And tonight his low, rumbling growl feels like he knows she's there and is watching over her. Titan had a reputation that made most people keep their distance. He was like the other shelter dogs, who wagged their tails and barked eagerly for attention. Titan was silent, intense, a towering German shepherd with eyes that seemed to carry the weight of something no one could name. The staff often warned volunteers to stay away from his kennel. Former K9, they'd say, quietly, lost his handler in the line of duty. Hasn't been the same since. Since arriving at the shelter, Titan hadn't let a soul near him. He ate when no one was watching and growled low when anyone lingered too long. Most saw him as dangerous, maybe even beyond help. But Mia didn't see danger when she looked at him. She saw sorrow. She understood what it meant to lose someone and still feel their absence pressing against every heartbeat. A few weeks ago, she started sitting by his kennel during her volunteer shifts. Not too close, just near enough that her presence could be felt. She didn't try to pet him or coax him with treats. Instead, she simply whispered to him, told him about her parents, her dreams, how the world felt too big without them. And over time, Titan began to listen. His growls faded. He started to sit when she came. One day, He even lay down near the bars, his eyes fixed on her with a quiet understanding no one else ever gave her. Now, in the stillness of the night, something stirs inside him. The familiar scent of Mia lingers faintly in the air, but different. Close. Too close. He lifts his head sharply and stands, his thick paws patting softly over the kennel floor. Ears twitching, tail stiff, he begins to pace. His breath quickens. His instincts, once honed in the field beside his fallen partner, are razor-sharp again. Titan moves to the front of his kennel and locks his eyes on the storage room door. He knows she's here, and something isn't right. The shelter is cloaked in deep silence when it happens. Hours have passed since Mia drifted into a restless sleep. Curled tightly beneath the old blanket, the faded photo of her parents still clutched in one hand. In her dreams, she's somewhere safer, warmer, but the creak of a door jolts her awake. Her eyes snap open in the darkness. Footsteps, slow, deliberate, from where she hides in the storage room. Mia can hear it. The soft shuffle of boots on concrete, the faint jingle of keys, and the low metallic click of a flashlight switching on. A dim beam cuts across the floor. This isn't a staff member. The shelter is closed. Whoever is here shouldn't be. The beam sways side to side, methodical. Then a man's silhouette moves past the supply shelves, tall, thin, with a hoodie pulled low over his face. He's rifling through drawers, rummaging fast. The storage cabinets near the veterinary supplies. He's not looking for animals. He's looking for drugs, equipment, something valuable. Mia's body locks in fear. Her breath catches. She clamps a hand over her mouth. Her small frame presses deeper into the shadows, trying to become invisible. She's just a kid. If he sees her, if he hears her, then it starts. A sound like distant thunder. Titan's growl, low, guttural, vibrating through the walls. It builds, deepens, warning like a storm approaching. The man freezes. He lifts his flashlight and shines it toward the kennels. The beam lands on Titan's cage, and on the dog, standing tall, muscles tense, teeth barely bared. His eyes don't move from the storage room door. He knows. Mia feels her heart slam against her chest. Titan isn't just alert. He's locked in, focused, ready. The man takes a slow step backward, his voice muttering something, nervous, maybe dismissive. But Titan's growl sharpens in response, echoing louder. In the silence that follows, Mia feels two things at once. The fear that she's not alone, and the overwhelming sense that Titan won't let anything happen to her. The intruder's ears perk at the sound, that deep, bone-chilling growl echoing from the kennels. He tightens his grip on the flashlight, shining it across the cages, trying to see what set the dog off. Titan stands like a statue, chest heaving, ears forward, eyes locked on one place, the storage room. Something in the dog's stance sends a ripple of unease to the man's spine. He mutters a curse under his breath and steps cautiously toward the storage room door, reaching for the handle. Inside, Mia shrinks back, her tiny hands trembling as she sees the knob begin to turn. The door creaks open slowly, the beam of the flashlight cutting into the room like a blade. And then chaos. A deafening crash rips through the air. Titan explodes forward, slamming his entire weight into the metal door of his kennel. With a force no one thought possible, the rusted latch snaps. The heavy door swings open with a clang as Titan surges out like a bullet. His nails scrape against the floor as he launches himself down the hallway, a blur of muscle, fur, and fury. The man turns just in time to see him coming. He yells, stumbling backward, dropping the flashlight, and then Titan hits him. The German shepherd barrels into him, knocking the man flat with crushing force. A snarl tears from Titan's throat as he plants his massive paws on the intruder's chest, holding him firmly to the floor. Teeth bared, his growl rumbles like a warning from the depths of the earth. Mia screams, stumbling to her feet in panic. But then she sees it. Titan doesn't bite. He doesn't even snap. He just stays, solid, unmoving, pinning the man like a trained protector, eyes blazing but controlled. He knows exactly what he's doing. Titan isn't attacking. He's guarding. Not just the shelter. He's guarding Mia. The silent shelter explodes into noise as the back door's forced entry triggers the alarm. Red lights flash across the walls and a loud, echoing siren blares through the building. piercing the stillness. Titan doesn't flinch. He stays locked in position, unmoving atop the intruder who now lies sobbing, too terrified to move. The man's hands tremble above his head as Titan's low growl hums a steady warning. Minutes later, flashing blue and red lights streak across the road outside. Patrol cars screech to a stop, and armed officers pour through the main entrance, weapons raised, until they freeze at the sight before them. There, in the center hallway, is Titan. The once unapproachable dog has a grown man pinned to the floor like a statue of justice. Just beside him, partially hidden behind a stack of bags, they find Mia, pale, wide-eyed, but safe. She's curled beside Titan's massive body, both arms wrapped around his thick fur. She won't let go, and Titan won't move. Among the responding officers is Officer Ramirez, Titan's former K-9 partner, the only one who still visited him after their mutual handler, Officer Mark Bennett, was killed in the line of duty. When she sees Titan crouched protectively over the girl, her breath catches in her throat. She lowers her weapon and steps forward slowly. "Titan," she calls softly, voice cracking. He glances up at her. Just once. Calm, assured, then back down to Mia. Ramirez drops to one knee, her hand trembling as she brushes hair from her damp eyes. "He hasn't trusted anyone," she whispers, overcome, "not since Mark died." Her voice breaks again as she watches Titan gently press his head against the girl's shoulder. But he protected her, like she was his own. No one moves for a long moment. No one dares to interrupt what they're witnessing. Titan, the grieving K-9, had finally found someone to guard again. At the police station, the chaos slowly gives way to calm. The man who broke into the shelter is taken into custody, still shaken and mumbling about the dog who came out of nowhere. Officers gather statements, piece together the timeline, and interview Mia with gentle voices and soft eyes. She's quiet but steady, her small hand never once leaving Titan's thick fur as they sit together in the corner of the waiting area. Her social worker arrives, breathless and distraught. She kneels in front of Mia, wrapping her in a blanket, whispering apologies and reassurances. But Mia's eyes don't leave Titan. Not once. In a nearby office, the officers gather behind closed doors. Some are skeptical. Titan's history is complicated: grief, aggression, years of silence. Others are stunned by the loyalty they witnessed. Officer Ramirez stands silently until the room quiets. Then she says with quiet certainty, "He chose her." Heads turn. "And maybe," she adds, voice thick with emotion, "maybe she chose him too." There's a pause, heavy with meaning. Ramirez goes on to explain what many already saw: how Titan didn't just protect Mia. He comforted her, responded to her like no one else. For the first time in years, he acted not like a broken dog, but like a partner. And Mia, she didn't flinch from him. She leaned into him, trusted him. The department knows the bond between handler and K-9 isn't something that can be trained. It's earned. And somehow, against all odds, this little girl and this wounded dog had found it in each other. By the end of the meeting, quiet nods pass between officers. Special placement arrangements begin. Paperwork is expedited. Exceptions are made. Ramirez volunteers to oversee Titan's care and training, promising to help Mia every step of the way. For the first time in years, Titan has a purpose again. And Mia? She has someone who would break down doors to protect her. Weeks pass in the shelter's quiet routine resumes, but one kennel remains empty. The heavy metal gate once housing Titan stands open, the straw bedding undisturbed, the plaque on the door removed. Staff still glance down the hallway out of habit, half expecting to hear the low rumble of his presence. But Titan is gone, not lost, not missing, just finally where he belongs. He now sleeps at the foot of Mia's bed each night, a quiet guardian with ears always perked, nose twitching at every sound. His instincts haven't dulled. If anything, they've sharpened with purpose. He's no longer a retired K-9 grieving his past. He's her protector now, and she is his mission. Mia doesn't run anymore. She doesn't look out the window, wondering where she should be. For the first time since losing her parents, she feels rooted, not just in a house, but in a home, one filled with safety, warmth, and something she thought she'd never feel again: trust. Her room is filled with drawings, most of them of Titan. Him watching over her while she sleeps. Him breaking open a cage. Him curled beside her on the floor. In each one, his eyes are calm, proud, and full of love. The town whispers about what happened that night. They call it a miracle, that a runaway girl and a forgotten dog save each other in a way no one could have expected. But Mia doesn't call it a miracle. She just calls it truth. Titan didn't just save me, she says one morning, brushing her fingers through his thick fur as he dozes in the sunlight at her feet. He found me when no one else could, when no one else even looked. And Titan, eyes half closed, lets out a quiet sigh, as if to say, asterisk, I'll never stop watching now. Asterisk,